Hello and welcome to another of the Nautical Institute's technical webinars. My name is David Petraco and I am with the Nautical Institute headquarters staff in London. And for those of you who might have seen one or two of these things over the last 18 months, you'll notice my background has changed. It is not virtual. I am actually in my office in London. So we'll see how this goes. It's the first time I've used my desktop in that many months. So I hope everybody is familiar with the Nautical Institute, but if not, we are an international professional body, and our main role, we are a membership body, so I will say again and again, please join us as members, but our main role is to help our members with professional development, because we think that educated people who keep themselves up to date make better decisions. We also represent our members at international forum like the IMO and IALA, and we share their voices and their concerns and try to improve the state of the industry. Now, as I said, the name of the game is to make better decisions and to do that through an engaged mind. And there is no better engagement than when somebody becomes in command. It is a very unique experience for many people, and there's how do you prepare yourself, and of course how do you prepare people in your company, and how do you mentor your crew to become capable of taking command. So before we start, I just have a couple housekeeping notes. This is an interactive webinar, so please do ask questions. Your microphones and your cameras will not work, but you can type in questions that will come to me. So there's a little area where you can put those questions in, and don't forget to press the send button. There's also a handout area, and there are quite a few documents, some really good documents. So please feel free to download those. We'll talk about a command scheme, and the entire scheme is there for download. And we will also talk about a book we have on command, and there is a taster of a couple chapters in that handout. So please help yourself to that. And we will be doing a survey, a poll partway through. So please do participate in that. I think you'll find that useful engagement. After the webinar is over, if you don't mind, there will be a little pop-up survey asking you how we've done and what we could do better and what other subjects you would be interested in. So please take the 2 minutes to fill that out. Probably a couple hours after the webinar ends, you will get an email saying thank you very much for attending, and there will be a personalized certificate attached to that, or a link for your personalized certificate. You are most welcome to that. This event is being recorded, and that recording will be put on our YouTube channel. So feel free to watch it again and share it with your friends and colleagues, but give us hopefully till the end of tomorrow to get that up there and posted. And you are not alone. There are nearly 700 of you out there. So again, when you do write in your questions, if you can keep them as succinct as possible, it'll help us deal with as many as we can. So that all being said, I will introduce Captain Varma and his excellent panel. Captain Varma will introduce everybody in due time, but everybody here is on LinkedIn, so if you want to connect or get more information, feel free to look any of these excellent professionals up on LinkedIn. Now, Captain Varma is ideally placed to chair this event this afternoon. He has many years in command himself. He then came ashore and has held a number of roles in education and training, again, preparing people for command. He is now head, and we are very honored to have him as head of our qualifications. Captain Varma, sir, over to you.
Thank you, David, for giving me the opportunity to do this webinar along with my panel of Captain Alexandra Hagerty, Stewart, Bankier, and Captain LeGoubin.
Morning.
Good morning, all of you, and good morning to all the listeners. I will first give a short introduction of all my panel members. and then we will take it from there. So first is Captain Andre LeGoubin. Andre is currently employed as mooring master in the lighting trade. As a consultant, he undertook frequent and varied casualty attendance, including salvage. He has conducted numerous investigations, often involving unsafe navigation practices, including unsafe port, navigation incidents, and even sinking. Before becoming a pilot, before becoming a mooring master, he was pilot with Port of London, and he commanded high-speed ferries. He also specializes in providing expert witness services to the maritime community, and has written one of the very popular books, Mentoring at Sea, the 10 Minutes Challenge, which is published by Nautical Institute. Welcome, Andre. He's also, of course, a fellow of the Institute. I welcome you for the webinar and for the time you have for us.
Thank you very much, Maneesh.
Thank you. Thank you. I have Captain Alexandra Hagerty. I must congratulate her. She recently got her command, and she's one of the young members who I'm sure has very fresh experience, and which she will share when we are doing the discussion on taking over command. She has got a very long CV, I must say that. And I'll definitely ask youngsters to have a look at the LinkedIn profile. I have picked up very few of those, from the few things from the CV. So she is a shipmaster with US MSC and has previous experience of car carriers, heavy lifts, MARAD activities, MSC ships, and Navy oceanographic survey vessels. She has done an MSc in International Transport Management and an Elite MA on Policy and Communications. Welcome, Alexandra, to the webinar.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Then we have Stewart Bankier. He's at present head of Fleet Personnel Development and Compliance, Bernhard Schulte Shipmanagement. He has a very distinguished career in Royal Navy, and his role is now a head of compliance in Fleet Personnel Development, and he provides advice on learning and development strategies and coordination of leadership and management programs, and has focused on seafarer competence and skills to help identify operational training needs through gap analysis for being promoted to master. So he will give his views and his experience of what he is looking and how he develops masters and how he decides someone has to be promoted to master. Again, warm welcome to all of you, and we will start with the question which I'm going to ask you all the same. One question which is same. Starting with Alexandra, what command means to you?
Thank you very much for the introduction. What does taking command mean to me? Taking command is a huge responsibility that is emotionally, physically, and psychologically testing. The job will test you on many levels, and every day you must be open to learning, researching, and solving problems. You are in essence a manager. You must be a leader who has a strong understanding of a plethora of topics ranging from admiralty law, ship security, health, safety policies, company and regulatory policies, payroll, overtime, politics, and international relations. Taking command means that you are managing people, being a leader and a role model and a mentor on a regular basis. You set an example to follow and a culture on board. This will partly stem from how you were raised, your personal values and reflections, and decision-making abilities. It is a position that requires you to be well-read on a diverse range of topics that affect your crew, your ship, and your company. You are no longer making decisions for yourself and your department. You are making larger decisions that can affect a vessel's voyage, budget, crew morale, and the company's reputation. Taking command means that you are confident in making those decisions on a regular basis and understanding that the collective performance of the vessel, the output and delivery of its goals, the company and ship's needs are met efficiently and safely. It means that you can handle timelines, high expectations, and deadlines, and you can plan accordingly to the best of your abilities. It means that you can harness the ability to empathize with your crew, learn their strengths, their weaknesses, and their flaws, but help them grow regardless. It's also recognizing problems in advance and preparing for circumstances that may change the course of a shipyard period or an unplanned pandemic like COVID that affects your crew change overseas. And you must muster the strength and courage to have your crew meet the overall goal. It means that you are not afraid to pick up the phone and ask for advice from another senior captain because they've been in your boat before. Taking command is about teamwork, leadership, and good management skills. You may be the only one in the position, but it still requires everyone working together to establish a place where you will build trust, confidence, and loyalty with your crew. It means being a leader. CEO Jack Welch says it best: before becoming a leader, success is all about growing yourself. After you become a leader, success is all about growing others. Thank you.
While Alexandra has her internet connection sorted out, just be mindful that she is on the vessel right now, so we may experience some internet issues there. Captain Andre, now will you, with your vast experience, let us know what command means to you?
They really shine. Times engineer.
Thanks, Captain Maneesh. Okay, so hello to everyone. Great to be back with you again. Delighted to see so many of you joining us today. What is command? Well, the Oxford Learner's Dictionary describes it as control and authority of a situation or a group of people. And then, with a nod to our younger seafarers, Wikipedia describes a captain as having the ultimate command and responsibility of a merchant vessel. I believe that command is both a privilege and a huge responsibility, and should only be undertaken by those who want the position and are prepared to accept that responsibility. I also believe that cadets should be educated from day one that they're preparing to be captain or chief engineer. Also, that everyone who work with or have influence over captains in command should have a really good understanding of what that position means. Now, those taking command, as we know, are required to demonstrate a high standard of qualification, of competence and knowledge. And these are all principles that the Nautical Institute was established upon to promote and that are written into the Nautical Institute Constitution. But whilst academic qualifications are necessary and required under statute, I believe that success in command is based as much on experiential knowledge gained over many years. But what do I mean by that? What is experiential knowledge? I define this as knowledge gained from professional, on-the-job experiences and reflected upon. Now, this knowledge can come from a wide variety of sources or experiences. However, these experiences do need to be reflected upon before they can become experiential learning. And what is reflection? What is so important about that? Well, according to the Institute of Work-Based Learning in 2008, they defined reflection as a thoughtful, in the sense of deliberative consideration of your experiences, which leads you to decide what that experience means to you. And that's what I think is so important. You have an experience and then determine through reflection what it actually means to you. Now, academically, I don't see any problem gaining the qualifications necessary for command. Certainly over here in the USA, there's several good universities offering a degree-based course leading to candidates' first watchkeeping certificates. It's the gaining of experiential knowledge that concerns me. as the opportunities to gain the necessary experience are becoming more and more limited. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean. Most ships these days under their ISM or SMS systems require the chief officer to be on stations forward for mooring and for anchorage, as in their consideration, the senior officer is the only one considered experienced enough to raise and lower the anchor or supervise the mooring and unmooring. Something many of you and I have done since we were third mates. So how is today's chief officer going to get the experience in bringing the ship into anchor or working with the pilot coming into the berth? Basically, they'll do it in the simulator, and then hopefully a few times during the 3 months or so of training when they're taken out of the system to prepare for command. But what a wasted opportunity when they can be on the bridge understudying the master for years prior to promotion. Now, this is one of the many reasons I like the command scheme, as any chief officers undertaking this scheme must get the opportunity to do the activities I've just described so as they can successfully complete the course. It gives them an opening to ask the master to permit them to undertake the required maneuvers, and may also open up other opportunities for the more junior officers. Another benefit is it creates an opportunity for the chief officer to discuss the maneuvers with the master, and may just be the opportunity the master is looking for to pass on his or her experiential knowledge as a mentor. With the company's blessing, if the company has agreed to the chief officer undertaking the scheme, or just between them if it hasn't. To me, taking command is a wonderful, exciting, and at times frightening experience. And I believe one can only truly understand those emotions when you take the ultimate responsibility. To be successful, one must have a sound base of knowledge, both academic and experiential. And the command scheme goes a long way, which Captain Maneesh is going to talk about shortly. It goes a long way to helping you gain the latter in today's modern merchant navy. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre, for your wonderful insight. Now, I'm asking Stewart, who has a very major responsibility of doing a competency assessment of the chief officer to be promoted to a master. His work is is important because he is giving the master, the chief officer who's going to be promoted to master, command of a very expensive and valuable asset. Not to mention the commercial implications of an incident, but more importantly, the environmental damage, which sometimes is irreversible. Now I'll ask Stewart to give his opinion and how he works around promoting people to master. Over to you, Stewart.
Thank you, Maneesh. Thank you, David, also, and the Nautical Institute for the opportunity today to join the webinar. I'm very pleased to be here and join the other panelists. So I'd just like to spend a couple of minutes, I think, in using a couple of very practical tasks, which I want to just talk about, which I think highlights one of the areas, because of course command is a huge area. It's a huge range of knowledge, skills, and expertise, experience that Andre and Alexandra were talking about. But if I can just focus in on a couple of simple, practical, day-to-day tasks that chief officers, other officers, and certainly captains should be doing every day. And through these practical tasks, maybe you can read my mind a little bit and understand where I'm coming from, because I want to focus on the leadership and management part of the command. So if you think about a day-to-day situation on board your vessel, certainly in BSM, we require weekly accommodation rounds. Okay, so if we just think about that task, it seems such a simple task, really, but what we can get from it is a huge amount of benefit, information, value add, because what we're talking about here is people, and being in command is about people. And if we don't get that bit right, we're wasting our time with everything else, I think. So really we have to focus on the people. We have to understand it. So if you think about just doing accommodation routes, and I've done many sailing visits in our company over a few days to a week, 10 days, sailing visits on our vessels, and I've seen everything that can go on there. So going around there, you can meet the crew, you can communicate, as Alexandra was saying. Communication is vital. You can understand what's going on. You can judge the feeling, the culture on board by just getting around. And a friend of mine recently said, if you walk into the chief cook's cabin, you can get an idea of how the galley's performing, because you can see it, because you can see people's way, their method, the way they behave, the way they act. So it's all about the people. Going around, whether it's just accommodation rounds or even, what I would promote as being best practice is getting around the whole vessel. That's including the engine room. Captains should be in the engine room, on a regular basis. But get around your whole vessel. You can talk to the crew, all from the messman, the OS, all the way up and down the chain of command. You can reinforce the structure. You can reinforce the organization. You can discuss safety. You can give the voice to the young OS who's chipping and painting, and understanding. It creates trust, cooperation. It creates, this feeling that they have a voice. So many times I talk to seafarers during my sailing visits, and they feel that they don't necessarily have a voice. And that's really important. And we certainly in BSM are focusing on that, because we want our people to be first and foremost what we focus on. And certainly from a command point of view, we want to make sure that those people are the people that we're interested in, the people that we look after. And these days within the pandemic, of course, there's been a huge amount of dialogue on welfare and well-being of our crew. And that's critical, absolutely critical. But I'd relate the welfare and the well-being to performance, and not just performance of the individual, because it's the individual performance, the collective performance of the vessel that gives the overall output and the kind of the whole thing, the ultimate output and delivery of that asset, which is so valuable. And that so we're investing a lot of time in welfare and well-being initiatives. And recently, for example, we did a social interaction matters trial with one of the maritime charities. So we're interested in what we can learn from that. And it's very interesting. And, I think there's so much to be done. And, I think I was also listening to leadership and management guru, a motivational speaker, a chap called Simon Sinek, if ever you get the chance on YouTube to look at it, because he spreads a lot of different messages, but when he talks about leadership, he talks about trust, cooperation, which Alexandra and Andre have talked about. But you have to build the environment to get that from your people, and that's really important. And he talks and has a quote where he says, it's not about being in charge of people. It's about being having the care of the people in our charge. So we turn the table there a little bit. So it is all about the people, and so critical. But you can get so much by getting out around your vessel. And again, a colleague of mine in the Navy coined a phrase, management by walking around. And I think that's so very important these days, that we understand our vessels, but we must understand our people. And that gives us a fantastic platform to be in command. And hopefully that gives you an idea where I'm coming from. Thank you, Maneesh.
Thank you, Stewart. Right, David, it's over to you for asking the whole question, please.
Okay, this is the chance where you can please vote. So,
okay, yeah. Thank you, David, for putting up this question. While you were waiting, and I'll have a brief overview of the command diploma scheme that we have. I feel that it is highly unlikely that you have in your short span of your career um, have gained all the experiential knowledge needed to which may be used in command. Mind you, command is a very broad has got a very broad outreach, and you may never use few of the experiences that you have gone through during your chief mate or officer days, but you never know what is going to come at you. There's always something unexpected. We aim that command is a way to prepare for unknown. The we will give you by doing the scheme, you will do the you will have the basic knowledge on how to handle the unexpected, and that will be and it's sort of a checklist what you have done, not done, prior to taking command. Before I go any more on this one, I'll be happy if David has the answers to it, and he's smart as usual, very fast. So, as I see on my screen, there is 21% very confident, 49 quiet, and 23 and 7 who are not very or worried about it. I would say, this scheme this will definitely help you, this 30%, and 49% can also brush up to become very confident following the scheme. This obviously we have handouts, and the command scheme document or the booklet is available for you to download now, and also you can download from our website. We have 4 handouts there, NI membership brochure. We have also the assessment brochure, how we assess the scheme. Feel free to download, and if you are in any, if you can't, or if you have any issues with the computer, internet, you can always go to on our website. David, can you confirm that you are seeing the right screen? I'm not very familiar with this platform.
Yep, we got your presentation up, Maneesh.
Thank you. Okay, right. The command diploma scheme. I have just a minute, please. Okay. We already had a good discussion, and we all said that we need to do more, learn more on the experiential knowledge to be able to perform this work prudently and efficiently. So, first of all, this scheme also is grounded in the Nautical Institute's mission and 5-year strategic plan to provide a safer, environmentally sound, and sustainable maritime industry. And this meets 17 goals of the United Nations, which the United Nations has identified as a shared blueprint for a better future for all. The one thing that I would like to add here is, women in shipping are less, and even in lesser in the position of command. We hope that the chief officers or young aspiring seafarers, especially the ladies, will take up the scheme and make themselves prepared for taking over command. In addition, the Nautical Institute command scheme has gone through quite a few revisions. In fact, as far as I remember, it's 3. To maintaining and keeping it updated with the present environment scenarios regulations. And it is the one about equality, and is that it is available free. If you want to do it yourself, it is free for you, so that you have access to a good quality document for doing your professional development. Okay, next slide. Just a minute. Okay. Sorry, you didn't see the slide. I spoke through it. But yeah, that's what I just now described about, is that the 3 goals of United Nations, which are part of 5-year strategic planning. And now we go on the next slide, hopefully. Yeah. So what is Nautical Institute Command Diploma Scheme? It's first of all, it's a self-study program. Let me tell you a bit of a history about this scheme. We first ran, before I had joined this institute, this scheme was very popular, and the scheme was was taken over by, not taken over, I say the scheme, in the scheme, we assessed the students, while the progress in the monitoring of the students was done by the companies themselves. And but with the passage of time, we found that the training managers and the shore staff is getting more and more busy. On this aspect, we decided to take over ourselves. So what happened in the current scheme is we decided to take over the assessment part of it, and to guide and we give basically feedback and guidance to the students. This new scheme was launched in 2017, and I'm pleased to say, based on the students' feedback, we have revised the scheme in 2021. We'll discuss a little more about later on. And so it's a self-study scheme. It prepares you for the responsibilities and realities of command at sea. You can download it now, and you can see how easy it is to follow. And it's all primarily for chief officers aspiring to take command, and you must have a master's license for this, or those who have just taken command of a vessel. Fresh in command, you will also find it useful. So what has changed? We are continuously improving the schemes and our training products based on the feedback. And what has changed from the 2017 version, that the language is easier to read and understand. Understanding that English may not be the first language for everyone around the world. It may be the official language of your ship or of your organization. We decided to make it easier for primarily non-users whose English language is not, whose English is not the first language, to read and understand. We updated the assignments. We made them more easy. We made them more descriptive. So you reading the assignment, you know what is required of you. And we also made public our assessment criteria. So this is new in the new command scheme. And then the topics are: Unit 1, understanding the role of an effective master; Unit 2, onboard leadership and management; Unit 3, ship handling and navigation; Unit 4, ship's commercial business; and Unit 5, emergency and drills. These are written assignments that you have to submit. And then obviously an essay, which the topics we have not been very prescriptive of them. What is your trade, your type of vessel, and you feel that you have eagerness to do an in-depth study, will be your topic of the essay. And at the end of it, you will have a discussion with the assessor over your essay, and once you have completed the scheme, you will be awarded a certificate. So what's included? We are talking that it's available free. Free, you can download the command scheme digital handbook and complete it yourself. And if you have a mentor who is willing to assess it for it, that will be, I think, helpful. But for you to get a feedback on your assignments, mentors to support you complete the assignments, not only the assignments, the mentors are there for something which is which you may feel that you want to know more. And that's the new that's happening on this in this version of the command scheme. We didn't have mentors assigned to the students. So our feedback was they were not, the guidance was not very thorough, and there's always a hesitation to ask your shipboard seniors, superiors. You always have that thing that what will my master think I am asking such a silly question, and that's where we have the mentors. You will come to know how you'll connect with them, and but yeah, they are there to guide you to complete the scheme. One of the famous publications and most popular, the Nautical Institute on Command, that comes with the paid version, so you don't have to buy it separately. You will get access to a dedicated LinkedIn group connecting you to assessors and other participants. So feel free to interact with other participants. And as I said, on successfully completion of the scheme, you will get an AFNI command scheme, which you can put on your CV, and to say that you have prepared to take over command, and the certificate is a proof that you believe in continuous professional development, which I'm sure will impress the company wherever you're working when they are thinking of handing over command to you. Now we talk about the assessors. Andre is one of our assessors and mentors both. So they are highly qualified with good experience of command. That's one of the criteria we have. We have these days in the ashore people who may not have command experience, but so we thought that our assessors and mentors must have command experience to share knowledge. Experiential knowledge is important, and that's one of the criteria. They are senior members of the Nautical Institute, and they reside in various geographical locations. I think we nearly cover all the time zones, which means, as come across later, how communication with them will be easier. As if you are living in more or less the same time zone, you don't have to get up late in the night to have a word or a discussion with your mentor. And once you have given a paid version, you get an access to a online share file platform. You will upload your assignments there, and the assessor is obviously notified when you upload anything, and he will give a feedback. Here I must say that our most of our assessors are active working people, so please be patient. If they are on a short sea trip or something, or on the professional assignment, you may get a bit delayed, but don't lose hope. We are also monitoring that it doesn't get unduly delayed. You can communicate with your mentor through WhatsApp, Skype, LinkedIn, and any online platform which both of you agree mutually. I think this is a very important feature that we have added to the present scheme from 2017. You have a guidance, you can ask any questions, discuss any topics within the limits of the command. How long does it take? Well, that's the most hardest part for me to define here. We expect 375 hours, and we anticipate about two years. But really, it's up to you. We have seen some candidates really very motivated, and they will finish it maybe 12 to 14 months, and some have taken extension. We are very mindful of that how much time you can devote on board, depending on type of route, vessel, and your RESTA regulations. So we are always happy to consider and grant extensions due to personal circumstances or anything which gives us a reason to believe that you have tried your best to complete the scheme within 2 years. Now, what our students think? I've got 2 students here, and the first one, I must tell you a bit on the background of the student. He has not even completed the scheme. He has done Unit 1, and he says, my first experience in master's position, but I can confidently say that knowledge I have got thanks to Nautical Institute already helped me, and I feel much more reassured even after Unit 2. So he has not done 5, but he's finding the benefit there. It's a great deal to use this knowledge and manage in the right way. Thank you for giving me such an opportunity. The second one is a more interesting case. This student was sponsored by a company. He left the company, and obviously he had to leave the scheme. Later on, he joined the company back, I think, after a year. And this has come to me last week, this testimonial. And I got an email from the Marine Superintendent that this student is very eager to join back. And that's what he says. We have one navigator returning to a fleet cell recently after he left for work with another company. Obviously, for privacy reasons, I have removed the name. ABC now is on board of one of our ships, and he's very interested whether it's possible to resume the command diploma scheme education for him. And yesterday, or I think day before yesterday, I got this email from this young officer. Now I see the scheme is revised and a lot of work has been done. I am on board and taking opportunities to work on the revised first unit. So this is what our students think. I think that's a good testimonial of how good the scheme is. It comes to the cost factor. Obviously, we are members organization. Members do get a discount. So it's 1750 pounds for members and 2,000 pounds for non-members. Just for your guidance, membership is cheaper than 250 pounds. So it will always be beneficial, even if you take a membership to do the scheme. And there are payment options available, which will help affordability. This is a recent change we have made in the payment system because we had students coming from some parts of the world who said it's not easy for them to to do a bulk sum submission for fees. And please contact us. We are an NGO. We are a charity. We want you to help support you in your professional development. We will find suitable payment methods so that you can complete the scheme. Any more information and queries? We have a dedicated qualification team for command who will answer your queries. You feel free. Obviously, there is a question and answer session here after my presentation, which you can you are free to ask questions there. With this, I will stop my screen share, and I'll take some questions now. And we have some interesting questions coming in a registration form, and the first question that comes to me, and I think Andre is the chosen one to answer that, is which mentoring programs are in place within company's corporate plans? And this question is asked by John. And his second question is, what is done to capture the extensive knowledge of retiring masters who have already demonstrated their competence over many years?
Thank you, Maneesh. What a great question to start with. Yeah, there are mentoring schemes around the world. We've seen a lot of increase over the last 10 years or so of the word mentoring. It's used a lot more. And there are mentoring schemes. There are some formal mentoring schemes, but the Nautical Institute, particularly at the moment, although we are developing further schemes, we look at the 10-minute challenge, the short-term mentoring, the passing of experiential knowledge one to another on board vessels. And this is something that I promoted and advocated and described extensively in my book, Mentoring at Sea, which the Nautical Institute published in 2012. And we're seeing on board and getting quite a lot of feedback about mentoring schemes on board, company mentoring schemes on board, based on the book. And also, of course, the short videos that we produced a year or two back, the 5-minute videos on mentoring, so, and the 10-minute challenge. So there are mentoring schemes. They tend to be informal. They tend to be company based. And of course, it can just take place on any ship as long as people are interested. I love the question about what can a retired master do after years and years of service, because this is one of the things the Nautical Institute is so very keen and really established on. There's a place for everybody in the Nautical Institute, and personally I believe that's terribly important. So to any retired master or retired officer, deck officer that wants to continue contributing, please join the Nautical Institute. Come along with us, because there's so many opportunities from mentoring through to IMO. There's so many opportunities. You have a vast amount of experience, and we want to share that. And we want to share that with industry, with our members, and with the maritime community. So please join us and share that way.
Thank you, Andre. We can take a couple of more questions. And I think this one I'll point to Alexandra. And this is, how do you motivate your crew? You're muted.
Motivating my crew, I think a huge part of that is in my safety meetings. I have regular meetings with my crew, giving them praise, highlighting their good accomplishments, highlighting the times when, for instance, my second engineer did a great job in noting a near miss and we were able to take care of the problem, highlighting the good work that they do on a regular basis, really opens up the crew to being more motivated, to be safety conscious, to be more aware of security on board. If you praise them and thank them for their time and for their situational awareness, they're going to continue to do that good behavior and bring that on board, and you create trust and confidence. And that's really the key here.
Thank you, Alexandra. I think this one I can direct to Stewart, and this is oh, sorry, I didn't say the name of the how do the question about how do you motivate your crew was from Colin. Thank you, Colin, for asking this question. And my next question is from I hope I am pronouncing this correctly, is Tobu Chuakawu, and his question, and the question is, how do we discipline unruly crew best without affecting his dependents? I'm not very sure if dependent means family, But will anybody in the panel like to take this question? How do we discipline unruly crew?
Well, I'll jump in. I mean, I think going back to a little bit of what Alexandra was saying, you know, trust and cooperation, but also communication. So we have to ensure that all the crew are fully aware of the company's policies and procedures, and not just you know, a text version. You know, we've got to try and make sure our crew understand what those procedures and policies are and why we have them, why we have the discipline system, why we have safety, why we have a culture within the organization. And that's really, I think, important to you know, we live by the values of the company from CEO downwards. So, you know, protecting the environment, for example, you know, we have to be you know, sure that we have that message communicated clearly from CEO down to the OSs and the messmen. So the whole organization really understands why we have these policies and procedures, and then people are far more likely to follow them, and then understand that when they don't, there are obviously you know, going to be consequences. But we also recently in our company are adopting a just culture approach. So we're very conscious that we're not necessarily blaming people. We want to bring people on the journey with us, educate and help them understand where they're going wrong and bring them back on track. That's what I would say.
Yes, Andre. Thank you, Stewart. Andre?
Stuart, thank you. Yeah, I think we also have to look at why we have an unruly crew. I think that's really important, because most ships do not have an unruly crew, in my experience. So something is the catalyst for this. Something is causing this unhappiness on board, and that's I mentioned reflection in my short speech at the beginning. One needs to look at this and reflect holistically on the problem. As a master or as a chief engineer, if it's stemming from the engine room, or you know, wherever it's stemming from in the ship, one needs to look at this realistically and holistically and determine why we have the unruly crew. And then, having determined why, can we do something about it? Yes, there must be discipline in place to deal with stuff. We cannot have that on board a ship, but there has to be a reason for it, because the majority of ships are not unruly.
Thank you, Andre. There are quite a few questions on basically on the crew matters. And if you look at the list of assignments in the command, if you've downloaded the command booklet, and if you look at the list of assignments, Unit 2 is basically on the area of managing people, and that gives a good, you know, way, good preparation if you have those sort of issues when you take over command. So if you see the assignment 2.1.2, it's dealing with this. It is dealing with disciplinary issues. And to add, as Andre said, if there is unruly crew, there is a possibility over the leadership style. It need not be just the master, but we have leaders. We have chief officer doing some leadership in some sub teams, and then we have second mate and third mate. We have bosun doing some, you know, in charge of leader of a team. So that's something that I think need to be looked into before you say why unruly crew. It's not always to do with unruly crew as such. It may be the environment also. In my sea career, I haven't come across, luckily, unruly crew, maybe a bit of disappointed crew or something which requires talking. And I think you as a leader, whether you are a command or you are leading the forward stations, you have to show empathy. And that is very important, to show empathy. And with this, I think David is going to knock on my head that my time is over. Okay, we have the final words are you know, there's one question is how to groom reluctant young officers for ship's command, and that's from Rajiv Paliwal. Rajiv, I think how to groom is in the book. How to groom yourself, you don't need to groom. And I think the motivational part is well answered by Alexandra. And David, I think that's all we have time for it today. Over to you.
Thank you, Maneesh, and well done. Well done to everybody. Still a lot of good questions coming in, and we'll deal with those the best we can. But our time is up. I will just remind everybody that those handouts are available for the next two to 3 minutes. So if you haven't got them already, please do. And again, on behalf of membership of the Nautical Institute, I'm very pleased that we've had a number of engineers attending today. And yes, engineers are maritime professionals, and as such are qualified to be members of the Nautical Institute. So please do, if you're an engineer and you want to join us, please do that. We have about 50 international branches around the world. Some of them are opening up to physical meetings, and some of them are even doing virtual meetings. So if you are interested in engaging with your communities, branches are a good way of doing that. And as Alexandra and the others were saying about building yourself up and networking and et cetera, that is a good way of doing that and finding mentors. Very interesting, Maneesh. We had a comment from Vladimir on the poll that we did, and he said he was far more confident on his first command than he is now after 18 years.
Yep.
Maybe something to reflect on as well. So on that note, I would like to thank all the presenters for their time. Folks, thank you very much for your wisdom. Thank you to everybody who's been in attendance and all the good questions. They will be passed on to our team. And do please join the Nautical Institute and help share ideas so that we can all make better decisions. So folks, thank you very much.
Thank you, David, and thank you the audience.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.